Have you ever had that moment at 3 a.m. when your mind is racing with the most brilliant ideas you've ever had? Dreams so clear you could touch them. Plans that feel perfect. The whole world makes sense in that moment. But then the sun rises, and just like that, it all starts to fade. Those crystal clear visions become blurry. Those perfect plans start to feel impossible. And by the time you're fully awake, all you're left with is this nagging feeling that you had something important to say to the world, but you can't remember what it was. I've spent the last year studying these moments. These flashes of midnight genius we all seem to lose. And what I discovered isn't just fascinating, it's heartbreaking. Think about last night. How many ideas did you have just before falling asleep? How many solutions to problems that seemed impossible during the day? How many perfect comebacks to arguments from 3 years ago? Last month, I woke up at 2:47 a.m. with what I was absolutely certain was the next great American novel. The characters were perfect. The plot was flawless. Every single detail made sense. All I managed to write down was, guy meets tree. Important. Don't forget. But here's what's fascinating. This isn't just about forgetting good ideas. It's about something much deeper. Scientists have discovered that our brains work differently at night. When we're tired, when our guards are down, when we stop trying to be perfect, that's when the magic happens. During the day, we're too critical of our ideas, too afraid of judgment, too logical to dream big. But at night, our inner critic goes quiet, our fears fade away, our imagination runs free. Maybe that's why so many of us feel like geniuses at 3 a.m. Because for a few precious hours, we're free from the prison of our own doubts. But here's the real tragedy. It's not just ideas we're losing when the sun rises. We're losing parts of ourselves. Those brave versions of us that dare to dream big. Those honest moments when we admit what we really want. Those pure visions of who we could become. But what if we could change that? What if there was a way to catch these midnight moments before they slip away? Over the past year, I've developed 3 techniques that have helped me save over 50 of these nighttime revelations. And some of them, they actually were life-changing. Let me share the 3 techniques that changed everything for me. But first, a warning. These aren't just about remembering ideas. They're about capturing pieces of yourself that only exist in those quiet hours between midnight and sunrise. The first technique I call the sleepy whisper. Instead of reaching for your phone to type, which forces your brain to wake up, keep a small voice recorder or your phone's voice memo app ready. The key is to whisper your idea without moving, without opening your eyes. Stay in that dreamy state. The first time I tried this, I captured an entire story plot that became my most viewed video ever. All because I didn't force myself to wake up enough to write it down. The second technique is what I call the dream anchor. Before you go to sleep, place an object that represents your current problem on your bedside table. Something you can touch without looking. When you have that brilliant 3 a.m. idea, hold the object while you think about it. This creates what scientists call a sensory anchor, linking your physical touch memory with your idea. When you wake up and touch the object again, it helps trigger those midnight thoughts. I used this technique when I was stuck on a huge project. The solution came at 2 a.m., and because I had my anchor, a small piece of rose quartz, I was able to recall 80% of the idea the next morning. But the third technique, this one is different. This one is about capturing not just ideas, but those versions of ourselves that only exist at night. I call it the morning bridge. Before you sleep, write down one question, something you're struggling with, something you want to figure out. Then, when those night-time revelations come, don't try to capture the whole idea. Just write down 3 words. Any 3 words that represent what you're feeling in that moment. One night, half sleep, I wrote freedom. Paint sky. I had no idea what it meant when I wrote it. But those 3 words led me to quit my corporate job and start creating videos. Because when I read them in the morning, I remembered that feeling, that pure, untouched dream of who I wanted to be. You see, it's not just about remembering ideas. It's about building a bridge between your night-time dreaming self and your daytime doing self, between who you are and who you dream of becoming. Because here's what I've learned after a year of catching these moments. The real tragedy isn't forgetting our 3M ideas. It's forgetting who we are when we're brave enough to dream them. Tonight, before you sleep, try one of these techniques. Place your dream anchor. Write your question. Prepare your voice memo. Because somewhere between midnight and sunrise, you might just catch a glimpse of your truest self. But there's something else I've discovered during this journey. Something I didn't expect to find. You know those rare mornings when you actually remember your 3 a.m. idea, when you manage to catch it before it fades. There's this moment, this brief, beautiful moment when both versions of you exist at once, the dreamer and the doer. Last week, I found an old voice memo from 6 months ago. It was barely audible, Just me whispering at 3:17 a.m. tree. What if we're not losing our dreams? What if they're just waiting for us to be ready for them? That whisper changed everything for me because I realized maybe we don't lose our dreams by sunrise. Maybe they just sink deeper, becoming part of who we are, waiting for the right moment to resurface. Think about it. Every great achievement, every moment of creativity, every burst of inspiration, maybe they're all just 3 a.m. dreams that finally found their moment to wake up. Those ideas you think you're losing, they're not gone. They're becoming part of your story, part of your journey. They're changing you, even if you can't remember them clearly. So tonight, when you're lying awake at 3 a.m., buzzing with ideas that feel too big for daylight, try something different. Instead of fighting to remember every detail, capture the feeling, the essence, the truth of who you are in that moment. Place your dream anchor, write your 3 words, whisper your truth, because maybe the most beautiful dreams aren't the ones we remember perfectly by sunrise. Maybe they're the ones that change us so deeply, we don't need to remember them at all. And who knows? Maybe one morning, you'll wake up to find you've become exactly who you dreamed of being at 3 a.m. Next week, I'll share what happened when I followed one of these midnight whispers across the world. Trust me, you won't want to miss this one. Until then, keep dreaming in the dark. And remember, sometimes the dreams we think we lose by sunrise aren't lost at all. They're just waiting for us to catch up to them. If this resonated with you, leave a comment. Let's see how many fellow night dreamers are out there. Remember to subscribe and hit the notification bell to catch more videos about the magic we find in life's quiet moments.